Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 and use the promo code WELCOME. Welcome to Light Years. Oh, you enjoying the playoffs, Andy?
I am enjoying the playoffs. The Eastern Conference Finals have been unbelievable, and then we got one of the best games I think we saw all year last night. Right, like the first couple games were bad, but I don't know, man. Like this is good basketball. This is great basketball, I think.
That's where I'm at. Like, there's obviously frustration points. Like, I think honestly, Brunson is the player I like the least of any of the stars remaining in it. Just like aesthetically, not my favorite, which sucks because I find him like pretty likable as a person, like as a teammate, as a leader. Like he checks a lot of boxes. I just don't particularly enjoy his brand of basketball. But I'm with you. I think the quality's been good. I think the internet loves to like concern troll like Oklahoma, Indiana, only 10 people are going to watch it. That sort of stuff. Like maybe that's true, but I will be one of those 10.
I was definitely worried about that. Then I realized, whatever. Also, it's a great basketball matchup. You and I, we did a pod about a week ago, and you were all in on Indiana. Shit, man, they're about to get there. They play tonight, or they're about to play soon. And I think Indiana Thunder is going to be the best matchup, like the closest matchup. I think New York. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's what Adam Silver wants. I think he wants parity. He wants small markets to get more brand recognition. I think Oklahoma City definitely counts. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it's good for them. I don't know. I just know that it's cool. I think Thunder and Pacers is a great matchup for sure.
Yeah, and it's like I want to get into it later, but I do think there's been just high quality, like good basketball. I don't want to say I've learned stuff from this, but like in the back of my head, I'm watching this with the thought of what do the Warriors need to do to be in the mix with these teams going forward? Like that's always kind of on the back of my mind. Kind of when I watch this stuff, it's like, how far away are the Warriors? In my mind, not that far away. They obviously need to nail stuff this offseason, but like, I think they're closer to being able to compete with Oklahoma City and some of these teams than not. Obviously, they need health. They need to add some more reliable shooters. They need to add some more a bunch of things. But yeah, man, I think because this is a league of parity, I don't know that they're as far off. Like Oklahoma looks like they could be into some sort of like dynastic run, but I don't know. Everyone said that about Denver 3 years ago. Everyone said that about Boston last year. It's a weird NBA.
I mean, that is true. That is very true. I think that might be the best point. That might be the best counter to people that are. I think everyone's going to be like, "Oh my god, Oklahoma City is going to be this."
And they're young, and they're going to be able to keep this together for a decade. I mean, look, man, we've seen that with every team. It doesn't happen. Yeah.
I don't want to jump the gun, but I was just thinking, like, are they going to pay everyone as well too? But I don't know. Either way, last night Jalen Williams, man, like I didn't see that coming. Chet Holmgren, dude. I just didn't see that coming. So maybe that's the counter. It's like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. not as good as those two guys. Definitely did not look as those two. But then you could argue like Jamal Murray looked pretty good when they won a championship. And now he doesn't look so great because he's out of shape all the time. And same with Jaylen Brown. And then, some of those Celtics guys are a little bit older. So it's fascinating. Maybe we can spin it to the way where it's like, I think that's just kind of where the NBA is going now. It's just a whole different discussion. The discussion isn't so much like these big dynasties. And I think to your point about the Warriors, they're not so far off, but I will come back to the point I think we were saying on the last show. The shot making is, I think the Warriors need to shore that up, man. That actually is the biggest thing. Last night, it finally, in my head, I'm just like, yeah, the Warriors don't have this. They can't make the amount of shots that the Thunder make. Even the Minnesota didn't miss a shot last night. The Warriors don't have the ability to make as many shots as those guys. Both teams felt like they shot 80% from the field. Neither team missed. And I'm watching, I'm like, the Warriors got Steph, who's the greatest shot maker of all time. But beyond that, Sam, they need to go find some other guys that can just make shots. They don't need Klay Thompsons, right? Neither of those teams had Klay Thompsons. Dante made shots last night, right? Like I even watched.
You just need more. You need more, dude. Yeah. I mean, to your point,
just
like
more.
They were in the playoffs begging Pods to be their best shooter. And it went kind of how you'd expect. He missed a ton of shots, and then he'd randomly have a game where he hit a ton of shots, Yeah. But it was mostly a lot of missing. And when you can really only be reliant on like 1 to 2 shooters if those guys are like Steph and Klay. Otherwise, you need like 6 of them. You need, because to your point, like Nickeil Alexander-Walker was feeling it last night, and he's a good player and he defends, and I like him. And he was on my list of players I want the Warriors to get. I don't really see how it's possible in the offseason.
Yep.
But, you know, he has other games where he doesn't shoot as well, and they're less reliant on him. They just have a lot of guys, to your point. There's Naz Reid. There's Dante. Obviously, Ant and Julius Randle are like their main two guys. By the way, Julius Randle, awful yesterday. There's, Jaden McDaniels. They didn't even count on him as a shooter because he does other stuff, but he still has some shots. Like they have a lot of players. And then to, the OKC point, you get on the list. Like you need a lot of dudes. You need a lot of versatility to make it happen.
Like Heinrich Williams, Sam. I know you like Heinrich. I know you like him. And it's like
Williams is one of my guys. He's been one of mine for years.
Would he not have played 28 minutes with the Warriors? Maybe 38 minutes with the Warriors? I mean, come on. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of – we can get into it. Like the big thing that I think you take away from these playoffs right now, we're actually going in reverse order of what we said we talk about, but who cares? The big thing I take away from these playoffs is like shooting is still underrated and defensive versatility is everything. It's really – OKC, they're not the Dynasty Warriors, but they have a lot of elements of the Dynasty Warriors where they're just like, we got our three core guys, and then everyone else around them is a Swiss Army knife. That's what we're going for. Like Caruso is their version of an Iguodala. Kenrich Williams, he's not as good, but it's like just these guys who can do a little bit of everything and can probably stick enough shots. They just loaded up on versatility, defensive versatility, wing size guys who can plug a lot of different holes. And it's difficult against Jokic because he's probably the best player in the world, but they have an answer for every matchup they get into. They have the ability to guard Jokic and then the next series go against a team led by an athletic, combo guard in Ant Edwards. When the Warriors were at their best, they had a ton of versatility and just enough shooting. And right now, when I look at the Warriors, I think they have okay versatility and they don't have enough shooting.
It does feel like another thing that I think is, and I'm stuck on the Thunder now. I think they changed my mind last night, Sam, because I have a lot of Thunder hate in my heart. But I watched them last night and I was like, God, this does remind me a lot of the Warriors. And let's go to what you're talking about with the defensive versatility. Feels like they go and aim to draft those guys. And those guys have the right mindset, whether it be a draft or just finding those guys. Kenrich Williams, I thought he was like 26 last night. Looked like maybe he's 30 years old. I was like, "Whoa!"
Hey, he's been there. He's been there for a while for them.
Yep,
but yeah,
developed them, picked them up somewhat, and like same with these other guys that they have: Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins. I know those guys aren't playing huge minutes, but Kason Wallace is a big one that they drafted pretty late. They drafted him pretty late, like quote unquote late in the lottery. And it feels like they draft these type of guys to say, hey, let's make sure these guys are willing to play a role. Let's make sure that they're going to be able to switch a lot on defense, to your point. And we can probably develop them into making a three. Like Kason Wallace probably isn't going to be a guy that can dribble, shoot. Probably will never average, 17, 16, 15 points a game. Probably won't in his career. Maybe. But what
I would bet all money on earth he averages over 15. He's 21.
He will.
He's way too good.
And I think getting those type of guys is I think what the Thunder have done well versus where the Warriors have maybe gone the other way, which is finding guys that are kind of, hey, we want to score first versus developing into, hey, we can do all the fundamental stuff first and then we can score more later. Right. And I think like that's one big thing that the Thunder have, because you watch that team and they're all bought in. They're young. Kason Wallace is 21. How many 21-year-olds that go in and say, like, hey, he's got the mindset to actually want to be a role player. He doesn't have the mindset of saying, I should be averaging 18 points, to your point. Like, maybe he can, but that's not something that he says he needs to do right now. Yeah, so I like it. I mean, I think that's something that they've done very well, developed very well. The Warriors, I think we're going to sit here and, in a little bit, we're going to talk about some of the destinations, some of the guys that they can pick up this offseason. And I know you did a bunch with Tommy. It's like, man, the Warriors are looking to get them in free agency. They're looking to get them in trades. And it just sucks. I think about it that they weren't able to draft and develop these type of guys. I get jealous when I see
Well,
The
you have
Warriors
to
picked
know
up
how
Lindy
you have to
Waters.
know
Lindy
you have
Waters.
to know how to actually scout, which is the problem that the Warriors have.
Yeah.
Kason Wallace, it was a lottery pick. I mean, you want to know who scouts were comping him to? Drew Holiday. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
where high floor maybe doesn't have the superstar ceiling, but like a shock that he would make. I think he's got a higher ceiling than people give him. He's a little bigger than you think. He can defend. He's smart. I think the shot's real. But if the shot isn't real, he's still going to be a winning player for another decade, you know, that type of thing. I mean, the thing that it's funny, but the thing that all the OKC players have, which is just like they actually produced in college or whatever level, as opposed to, and we're going to go back to it, the two timeline guys. Kuminga played in G League, wasn't really a winning player there. Why would he be a winning player moving forward? You know, Wiseman didn't play in college. There was not a lot of, whereas you look at Jalen Williams was the man at Santa Clara. He was the driving force behind their winning. Chet Holmgren, winning player in Gonzaga. You know, Kason Wallace, winning player at Kentucky. Like going down the list, they were finding guys who were continually affecting games in winning ways. I mean, you know, you could say the Warriors at least shifted their philosophy, taking someone like Pod's 19th overall, where they're like, you know what? He at least knows the right things to do. Whether he executes on them changes game to game, but he understands making the extra pass. He understands rotating on defense. He gets every loose ball he can. He understands the things that matter to winning, as opposed to what the Warriors drafted with their lottery picks, which was just kind of like idea players. They really were just idea players. You know what I'm saying? Like everything they drafted was just an idea, as opposed to, there was nothing that you saw from Wiseman or Kuminga in their amateur play that suggested that they would do what like Chet Holmgren does. It's just a lot of theoretical, you know?
Let's go back to the Pods point. He actually would be like a Thunder player. The problem with Pods is they needed, like, if you put Kason Wallace as the guy that needed to score 22 points right now in the playoffs for the Warriors, like, he'd be screwed too. Like, let's be real. I'm gassing him up, but like, let's be real. Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, if he has a bad game, they have three other options to go to.
Like,
if Pods has a bad game,
yeah, they're fine.
Keep playing, buddy. We don't got the options. We don't.
Like
you're only ball handler. You're only
facts. So like to that point, like I actually think like Pods would actually be like, I'm sure Presti would like him. Like, it'd be a good fit. But yeah, the theoretical stuff, that's where the Warriors messed up. Look, we've done it a million times. It's just, I think it's never been more obvious watching the NBA. And if you go and let's look at the other side, if you look at the Indiana Pacers, I actually think is actually another great team to follow, because they've done what the Warriors have done as well too. Like, they got a lot of big lanky wings. Like Aaron Nesmith is a guy, great role player, shooter, shoot the ball. I mean, he's a real shooter though. Like, not like he goes stick a shot. He's like a real shooter. So he got floor spacers like Miles Turner defend the rim. Like, he's
game one might have been a little out of.
That might have been crazy. Might have been crazy. A little Klay Thompson.
That was. I don't know if he's that level of shooter, but he could shoot the ball for sure.
I think the Pacers, the one thing that they do, like similar to the Warriors, is on the offensive side versus the defensive side. So you take the defensive version of OKC, and then offensively, the Pacers play fast, they play quick, and they play smart. Like that's something I think when the Warriors
move the ball,
they do that better.
Most passes of any team. Like, I didn't need to look it up to know it, but statistically, they're passing the ball more than anyone remaining in the playoffs.
Not even close. So I think that's the Warriors comp. Like, they just got smart guys that can pass and shoot and cut. And I think the Warriors have drifted away from that a little bit because of those players. Like you said, like Kuminga can't play that style. So they've got to like adjust and play this kind of slower style. And that's not what the Warriors. I'd imagine the Warriors this offseason are going to go back. I don't think they're going to change that offensive system. I mean, Steve freaking said it. They're not changing the system. Like, they're going to go like that. Pacers offensive style is like that's going to be the best matchup this postseason.
Can we talk about this? Your system is based on your best player. The Pacers pass the ball a ton because their best player is Tyrese Halliburton. He likes to run. He likes to get everyone involved. I mean, he really does like to play like Steve Nash. I don't think they're one-to-one comp, but just in terms of the way he naturally plays basketball, it's like, get the ball, go, try to get as many easy points as get everyone going. The end of the game, like everyone's got between 15 to 25 points. It's not like one guy. They go. How do the Warriors like to play? They like to get Steph off ball. They like to run, right? So you want guys who fit around that. And then like, how do the Thunder play? It's a lot of Shea ISO, right? It's a lot of he's our best player. Let's let him dissect a defense. And I think the real thing here is when you have one of those dudes you can build around, don't overcomplicate it. Just lean into versatility and try to, bring in guys who minimize their weaknesses. So like in Steph's case, and I don't even want to call this like a weakness, but he is 6'3". So you want to get as much wing size around him as possible. You don't want to put Chris Paul next to him, although Chris Paul is a free agent. Can maybe do it again.
Stop.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I think the funny is not even the right word, but like the irony is like all these teams are just, in my opinion, validating Steve Kerr because all the things that the Warriors did during their winning years are still the things that matter most, like shooting and defensive versatility. The playoffs are just about do you have the ability to guard as many different actions and players as possible, right? Minnesota runs into an issue where Gobert can only play certain type of defense. And then when they take him off the floor, what is it? They can't defend, right? So versatility.
Minnesota's that's key. I mean, dude, you said it right there. I was just gonna say, like, Gobert, they run into an issue because only one of Randle and Gobert can play right now. Randle can't play on offense, and Gobert can't really stick it on defense because they keep ISOing Shea on top of him. You double Shea, you got an open shooter in the corner, or you ISO and Shea just step back for an easy pull-up. That's the main reason why they couldn't stop Oklahoma City last night. That right there, like your best defensive player, 4-time defensive player there, can't stick in those situations. It's Shea. Most guys aren't going to guard him, but Shea was so comfortable because they just switched every single time. Gobert on him. OKC, they're comfortable defensively. Minnesota just hit shots, right? Like that just happens. But it just felt like Oklahoma City got to whatever they wanted to, and that was the game. That was the game.
And that's the issue, by the way, every Gobert team runs into. Like, he's just not versatile enough for playoff defense. He's just not versatile enough for playoff defense, whereas like a guy like Caruso, he could play every matchup. There's not a matchup where like, ooh, this is a bad matchup for Caruso defensively. Same is true of guys like Draymond and Jimmy, like they can play every matchup defensively. And that's after they had, quite frankly, I think a subpar series against Minnesota, but the whole thing was cooked when Steph got hurt anyway. So
yeah, I almost threw it away. I know Draymond came out and said like, "Oh, I got outplayed by Randle." The more I think about it, Sam, the more I'm kind of like, I'm not making excuses for Draymond, but part of it's like Draymond's on offense just trying to figure stuff out. They've got nothing. So to me, he just kind of wore down a ton. I give him more grief for kind of the Toronto series where it's like you're in your prime and you're getting cooked by Siakam. Like that was worse to me. Getting cooked by Minnesota because you got to guard so many guys. He's got to do so many things at the same time. He's also got to guard.
And offense was so hard for them. Like I think they fell apart defensively because it was like the amount of work they had to do to get a shot was just ridiculous. Turns out that Steph guy's useful.
Yeah. Turns out that offensive system and Minnesota defense is a little overrated. I think I'm watching this. I think that's maybe not the takeaway for the Warriors to emulate is this Minnesota defense is I'd say Minnesota validates my point, which is like don't overinvest in players who are imperfect pieces. Because like they're running into the issue where they need to play Gobert for rim protection, but he mucks up the offense. So then they take him off the floor, then they can't protect the rim. Like you shouldn't be, but they're in this kind of issue because he makes $35 to $40 million, right? Like I think what you see with OKC, what you used to see with the Warriors is commit to the guys who can play any matchup at any time, and then for those role players who play certain matchups, like you kind of want to get them on the cheap because of the size. You want to get a Zaza. You don't want to have to go out and spend a bunch of money on a center who you might not play in a series, right? Yeah,
I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. You don't want to overinvest into pieces that are not every matchup pieces when you get to the playoffs. But you do also need to get those pieces, because if you don't, then everyone's body's cooked by the playoffs. So it's the whole 82 versus 16 game player thing.
No Porzingis for you? No Porzingis.
Oh, I'm so out on Porzingis.
So
done.
Out, right? Yeah, just out on. Not a fan.
I just don't think he stayed. First off,
no shot.
The Warriors need guys who could stay on the court, and he has a harder time staying on the court than their old guys. So I would be okay if he could play like 65 to 70 games like a normal 29-year-old should be able to. I would say I'm interested, but I just think he's so cooked physically.
Would you? I know you gotta get to a break here, but would you rather have a defensive first and then can stick a shot guy in your lineup, or would you rather have an offensive? Hey, we could spread the floor with this guy, like he's good stretch five, but would you rather have like a Naz Reid or and this is not like a 1-for-1, or like maybe a lesser version of Caruso, right? I know Caruso's probably the pick there, but like, which one would you rather have? Which archetype would you rather have if you're Kirk right now?
I've already said this, so I'm just going to stick with my take. Whoever they invest in, and by invest, I mean like gets a substantial salary, gets one, like whether it's a Kuminga sign and trade or it's like a Moody and Buddy plus picks trade, like someone who makes real money on the team, it needs to be someone who is without a shadow of a doubt closing when it matters, because they don't have the ability to add a ton of players. And so from that perspective, I think your question is like, would you rather have an Andrew Wiggins or a Naz Reid? Like, I'd rather have Wiggins.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the guy who is less likely to score 40, but I know he's going to be out there closing and he'll stick enough shots. Right.
I'm with you. I agree.
And those aren't the easiest guys to find, to be clear. Like, it's not that easy to find them, but like, yeah, that's the job, man.
All right. Light Years Podcast, we are brought to you by Prize Picks. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000x your cash today. I got a great one today. I'll give you my thought process here. This is a 3x multiplier pick. Tyrese Halliburton, more 21.5 points. I mean, he didn't really want to shoot the ball last game. I expect a comeback game from Tyrese Halliburton, 21.5 points more. Karl-Anthony Towns, I expect the Pacers to go up big again when they play the Knicks tonight. So I think Big Purr is going to chuck up a bunch of threes. I'm going more on the 3 points attempted. It's at 5.5 right now. I'm going more. You can go with a bunch of other stuff too, man. Like you can go with Josh Hart, 8.5 points, more or less. TJ McConnell, my guy, big role player, 14 points, rebounds, and assists. You can go more on that one too. So you got tons of options. You put them all together. I just picked those two. You could get a 3x multiplier on that. Put $20, win 60. Look, it took me about a minute to do it. Make your pick in less than that. Turn your sports takes into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Here's how you do it. Download the app today. Use code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
So Stevie's been on a radio and podcast tour. Do you think, look, if you're listening to this, you've probably at worst heard the clips, most likely listened to a full interview or episode. Do you think Steve has an agenda with the way? Because like the thing that's caught the news and everyone's talking about is comments about Kuminga. I think he's been pretty like diplomatic with it. Like he hasn't been mean. He hasn't said anything that I think is weird. Example here, he says, thinks Kuminga needs to be a Sean Marion type, comparing his situation to Aaron Gordon's. I always mention Sean Marion as a guy who jumps out. We talked about JK's rookie year with his athleticism, running the floor, putting pressure on the rim, offensive rebounds, getting the dunker, drop-off passes, going up, guarding everybody. To me, that's what he's really built for, and we pushed him in that direction. He also had statements talking about how, it's tough to play him. I can't really play him 38 minutes a game if my goal is to win games right now. He's kind of said, I mean, honestly, is any of this new to you?
No, but I'm actually a little shocked. If you bring that quote up about the Aaron Gordon one and then this one, I was a little shocked that he was like kind of honest about this. He's also said this before. I don't think he's mentioned Aaron Gordon by name. He's always mentioned Sean Marion. By the way, when he mentioned Aaron Gordon by name, I started laughing. I was like, dude, how many times did you and I sit here and freaking bring up Aaron Gordon as the comp for Kuminga while also laughing and knowing that he doesn't want to do that? So it's like, Steve, you know that he doesn't want to do that, but he brings it up. So I thought the honesty was surprising. I'm not really sure what the goal is, so maybe you can help me understand this, because my assumption would be that Steve wants to gas up Kuminga so that they can use that in a trade package. I think Draymond's doing a good job of it, where he's going on his podcast talking about Kuminga's going to get paid. He's whether it be here or somewhere else, he's going to get paid. It's like, all right, Draymond, great, dude. So I'm not sure Steve Kerr's motive here, outside of just honestly telling the truth, because this is facts. All of this is facts. Like, hey, if you do the little things, you'll be a better player. But JK doesn't want to do the little things. Dude, we've been hearing this bullshit for 3.5, 4 years, Sam. So, I'm tired of it. But I don't know. What do you think? Like, it's the same stuff. It feels like he's just saying the same stuff.
I mean, he benched him. He DNP'd him. So he's gonna have to answer this question. Like, if you get a Steve Kerr interview, are you not going to ask him about the Kuminga situation?
It's the only thing I'm asking him, honestly.
And so he has to have an answer for it. And I think he answered it as honestly as he could, or just like as diplomatically as he could, where he's like, we need him to buy into being a slasher and a defender. And if he does it, I think he'd be Sean Marion. I mean, you and I know, but Sean Marion was a perennial all-star. The dude went number one in every fantasy draft for like a decade. Fantasy basketball beast. God, by the way.
He was a beast.
2010, 2 steals, 2 blocks, the stock god. I mean, he did literally make the all-star from 02 through I think 08, pretty much every year there. And he did average 20. I'm just looking at his numbers right now. Yeah, no, that's correct. I remember it. He averaged 20 and 10 for the bulk of his Phoenix prime there. I mean, he was a very good player. And so I think Steve's just trying to kind of excite him about it and kind of make it clear to him what the responsibility here is. And he had some other quotes where he's like, well, the contract stuff is what it is. As a coach, my responsibility is to coach him to and to operate as if he's on the team next year and what we need from him. I don't know what else you expect him to say, I think people overreacting to these comments is kind of like peak offseason stuff. Like, what do you want Steve to say? Yeah, he doesn't listen in practice. We keep telling him and he doesn't listen. What's that going to do? What's that going to do for you? Or what is he going to say? It's like, yeah, in his head, he thinks he should run pick and roll every play. Like I don't know. Like, I think diplomatic. I keep going back to that, but that's what this is. This is diplomatic because no one's being honest with us about what the real situation here is. Everyone says, "Oh, it's a bad fit." What does that mean? What's a bad fit? He wants to play losing basketball, and they want him to play winning basketball. Like, what is that? Either because I've never heard of the fit argument before in my life. Never once have I heard fit argument as an excuse. The coach asks you to do something. That's your responsibility. You do it. So he either can't do it, as in he's not talented enough to do it, or it's too complicated for him to do it, or he's just a malcontent and he doesn't want to do it. Those are really the only two options, because I see Steve yelling at Steph to pass the ball and to run around and to defend all game too. You don't hear about Steph going, "Oh, it's a bad fit for him. He doesn't want to do that." This is just common basketball stuff.
I'm glad we didn't start the show. I'm very glad this is the middle of the show. I'm very glad, because I think both sides essentially know that this is coming to an end, and they just gotta play the game until that happens. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know when it's possible that I just know that they got to make it like I wasn't on the show, and I wish I was, when you guys talked about the Kuminga at the Valkyries game. And it's just, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff is the stuff where it's like, you just got to play nice. You just got to play nice and until the trade happens. And then you go your separate ways. Like, I don't think Steve and Kuminga, I don't think they hate each other. I think both of them know at this point where it's like, Kuminga's like, you said it. He just wants to go play basketball the way that he knows how to play basketball. And if you think that's bad basketball, which I think it's not, I think it's like not winning basketball. I think it's that. So I think go do that. And I think Steve Kerr is saying, go give me a player that I think is going to be a winning basketball player. Give me Alex Caruso. You remember the Warriors really wanted Alex, but like, give me that guy because I know I'm going to play that guy 25.
Or give me a shooter because no one can fucking shoot on this team.
Otto Porter Jr. I mean, I was watching old highlights the other day. Like, give him something like that, right? Like, I think that's it, man. Like, just go act like you love each other until the divorce papers are through. And
at this point, I mean, the reality is at this point, Kuminga's only found some version of success when the ball is in his hands. And since they've got since they got Jimmy,
yeah,
the ball's not in his hands. It's just not. And so that's why he's going with the Sean Marion. You know, he didn't go with Klay Thompson. He's not saying Andrew Wiggins, who turned into a nice 3-and-D shooter. You know, he's using someone who.
Actually, yeah.
Well, I don't even think it's a better comp. I just think Kuminga's not a good enough shooter to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
He's looking at it from a realist standpoint, which is like, if you commit to cutting with force and defending, I can play you, even if your shot is inconsistent or unreliable. You know, that type of thing. And it just hasn't happened to date. I mean, I think the honest answer is they need to swap him for a 3-and-D guy. You know, they need a guy who can shoot because Jimmy's going to operate with the ball in the post. Steph's obviously going to do his thing. Draymond's going to, you know, run some traffic cop offense or something. They need someone who can shoot out of the weak side. That's why you've heard them rumored about Cam Johnson for years. They need someone who can shoot the ball.
The Warriors actually in a great place. I know that like this part right here is going to be tricky. We'll see who they get for him, but I mean, they have Steph and Jimmy. Like, they're actually in a great place. We'll see how much those guys play, but you're in, I think, as good of a starting position as you can be. It's up to Mike Dunleavy and these guys to pick out the right players to play around him. But
I think
the hardest job done.
And I think you said it also. They're just trying to play nice till we get there, because the reality is, unless Brooklyn wants Kuminga, he can't get paid without a sign and trade. So I would actually argue we don't want Brooklyn to want him. Brooklyn's the only team who could really complicate the Warriors because they have the cap space they could offer him like $40 million a year, and the Warriors like, fuck, we're gonna match it or not, you know, type of thing, right? Whereas if I'm just being real, if the Bulls want him, the Bulls don't have cap space. The Bulls will be like, let's do a sign and trade, you know. The Pelicans want him, they don't have cap space. Those would be like, let's do a sign and trade, you know. So really, it's just about finding a team that kind of fits with the Warriors from a trade partner standpoint.
40 million, Brooklyn, Jesus Christ, some shit, Brooklyn.
Well, they have all the cap space in the world.
I know. I'm just saying, it's
you know,
it's just funny.
I don't think it's going to happen. That's why every time I see Brooklyn, I'm like, every agent's using Brooklyn as kind of the threat, because it's the only team that we know, no matter what, they're like 60 mil under the cap, you know?
They've really, I know that's not the point you're trying to make, but like, they really have to love them, because if no other team has cap space, and like, it's like, then if you're Brooklyn, why would you like give more than like 20 million, right? But we'll see. I think
so. The Warriors don't match it. They have the ability to play a game. They have the ability to play a game to like play chicken with the Warriors, though, you know. Whereas like, you know, like if the Dallas Mavericks wanted Kuminga, let's say Dallas is like, you know, Kuminga with Cooper Flag. This is our This is our future, you know.
Hell yeah.
They don't really have the means to clear enough cap space to get him. They kind of got to call the Warriors and be like, hey, how you feel about PJ Washington? How you feel about you know, good. Like how you feel about, you know, Daniel Gafford or something? I don't know. Like they have to
feel good,
but they have to play those games. Is what I'm saying. They have to actually engage the Warriors. And so to me, a lot of this is like gamesmanship. Like, I think your point is correct. Like the whole like play nice with each other. That's what they're doing. They both need each other. They want to help. They want to get players who fit with what they want to build for next year. And then Kuminga, he wants to get a fresh start. He wants to get a scenario where he gets to be the man. He wants what his old teammate Jalen Green had. He wants the ability to run 50 pick and rolls a game and see what happens.
Well, he wants, his old buddy Jalen Green, but also Wiggins and Poole too. Like I think Poole wanted to stay here. Things got messed up, but like Poole's got his own team at Washington, who I could argue whether it's good or not, but I'm sure Kuminga would be down like to be that guy. Andrew Wiggins was that guy in Minnesota. Again, you can argue whether it was good or bad, but hey, he could do whatever he wanted and he averaged like 20 points a game. So that's what.
If anything, I think that's probably why Wiggins bought in so much easier with the Warriors, because he kind of experienced the other side. It's the whole Aaron Gordon thing. Yes. It's like, always go be the man, realize it's not that fun going 22-60. And then you start realizing, like, maybe I'm not a 30 point per game scorer in this league. Maybe the way I help a team is being a fourth option who defends, that sort of thing, right? Yeah. Because that's essentially what it is. That's what Steve's telling Kuminga, You can help it. You can help a team. You're not Shea, dude. You're not Anthony Edwards,
Can't skip years, though. We can't skip the experience. He's got to go through it. And so
that's true.
That's where we're at. Hey, so it's a good thing, right? So it's a good thing if Kuminga, because since in terms of a match trade, the Warriors get 50% of the contract. So if Kuminga gets $38 million, that's actually a good thing for the Warriors, right? Because it's more money.
It's complicated. It's complicated. If they're under the first apron, it's 50% plus $7.5 million. So, for example, if he signs for $30 million, 50% of that's 15, right? But then they can add 7.5. So they could take up to 22.5 million back.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then let's say they want someone who makes 30 million. So then they could add Buddy Hield to the trade, who makes
they could do that
9 to 10 next year. Now all of a sudden you can take back 31 million, so it's complicated for sure, but they have the ability between Kuminga, potentially in a sign and trade, and then Buddy and Moses Moody to cobble together a couple $20 million contracts they want to get something.
This $7.5.
That's, by the way, ignoring, and I'm going to talk about it on another episode, but that's ignoring if they want to trade a Draymond and go like a completely. Right now, they're posturing as if they have no interest in doing that, but you never know. Maybe that changes down the line. But I'm just assuming that's off the table for right now.
$7.5 million is huge. I was under the impression that it was 50%. That was, and then you got to match the rest. Sam, that's 7.5. But
only if you stay under the first apron.
Understood.
Which, like, currently they're about 26 million under. Plus, you got to have a couple holds. Like I said, this is terrible podcasting because it's complicated.
No. This is, I think, look, if I don't know, like people, I get trade, you get trade stuff from people all the time. And I'm, people are trying to like cobble stuff together and there's like a million rules. I saw today, and we're all over the place. I know we got one more thing to go to, but like Shams pointed out, this might be one of the most craziest off seasons ever. And it's because of the CBA. And it's because of the CBA, right? Like, that's to your point, what you're explaining stuff where it's like, I don't think anybody knows. And this is the reason why things are so crazy. It's because there's all these different rules, and the way Kuminga's going to get money this offseason is either the Nets are going to pay him a bunch, which I don't know if the Nets want to do, but if it's not that, then the other teams are going to have to.
You're going to have to engineer a trade.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be a 3-team trade. It's probably going to be a 4-team trade. Last year, they didn't lose Clay in free agency. They lost Clay via a sign and trade. It was a 6-team trade. It was like all sorts of, different moving parts. Okay, you want him. We want him from your team, but they want him. Next thing you know, you got all these things moving in different directions. I don't know if it's more exciting or less exciting, to be honest with you. I just know it's more complicated. Like the reality is, I think the only thing I know is post Luka trade, like, just throw shit out there. See if someone says yes. See if someone says yes. You good, Mike? You good at you good at sweet talking people? Just
Mike Dunleavy's interesting. That's
better
going to be
than Kirk.
Yeah. All right, let's do the teams. Let's do the Kuminga destinations. I mean, that's what we wanted to do. I wrote down some names. I wrote some options. You want to do that?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so there's the Nets. Let's talk about Cam Johnson a billionth time. No, put that one down. The Bulls have been long rumored.
Okay.
We've talked about Kobe White. He'd be okay. There's not a ton else on the Bulls that I'm super interested in. Is there anyone on the Bulls that catches your eye?
Lonzo, like it'd be nice.
Like Kevin Huerter. I really don't know. I mean, like they could use the shooting for sure, but I'd like them to do better if they're going to take back that much salary.
All right,
Patrick Williams, yuck.
Oh God.
So
I mean, he's better. He plays the role. Like he theoretically could do maybe 3 or and D. God, he's bad. All right, let's keep it moving. No Bulls.
I mean, or then you go the other thing, which is like, all right, we'll take Herter's expiring contract if you give us a pick, and then we can move the pick somewhere else and do, that's where I get into that like 3-4 team stuff. Maybe this other team doesn't want Kuminga, but they want an expiring contract and a pick. So you do this 3-team round robin to get you what you want, So
then you use that pick with Moody and Buddy to go grab someone else like a Cam Johnson, to your point.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's all going to be complicated. So, but yeah, like the Bulls, like, I don't know. There's not like Vucevic.
God. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's grim. I mean, I don't want to use. That's gross.
I just don't want to use the Kuminga trade piece on a player who's not going to close games. It's that simple for me. So maybe they can find a guy.
Also, not going to be on the team after this season. I know that may not matter as much, but like just 1 year, and you're right. He won't even play in playoff games. Sam, forget about closing. Like he'll play like maybe 8-10 minutes in playoff games. Like so. Yeah, the Bulls.
And I want to get someone under 30. That's the other part of it. He's gonna be 35. Like for free on a flyer, sure. For Kuminga, I want better. So,
Kobe White, I guess you mentioned it earlier. I mean, like he's not even on here because he is. I'm blind. 13 million. Maybe they don't want to pay him, right? Maybe they don't want to pay him the big contract. But then it's like, well, then why would they pay Kuminga? So it kind of doesn't make sense. It kind of doesn't make sense for that one. And also, Kobe White's a better player than Kuminga. So I just don't understand why the Bulls would do the Kobe White one. I know Warriors fans are really hyped up. I can't understand it because he's actually good. And why wouldn't they just pay him if they're going to pay Kuminga? It doesn't make any sense to me. So
yeah. And then the other one that's been rumored is Miami. Maybe they do a Wiggins for Kuminga deal. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that. Even though Wiggins does fit the archetype, I don't know, he's kind of slowing down defensively to me and older in some ways. So, but it's an option. So other than that, like their roster's grim, they're not giving you Bam.
This is disgusting. What is this? This is
Duncan Robinson, like for free,
Duncan Robinson, maybe if he opts out, but this is nasty. Yeah,
I don't know why he would opt out. It's not getting that on the market.
Or is it a team? Or is it a team option? It's not, right? It's a playoff. I don't know what option it is. Let's look at it right here.
I think it's a mutual. But anyway,
yeah, 19 and a half,
20 mutual. Well, I don't think they mutually agree to it. I'll tell you that.
So what is he gonna make 10 million? I don't know how that's gonna work.
I gotta double check the terms on it. So
that's so funny. Okay, well, yeah. I mean, those are the 3 teams. If those are the 3 teams, Sam, that doesn't bode well for the Warriors. But I'm sure there'll be other ones out there.
I kind of feel like it's going to be someone sneaky. Like the New Orleans Pelicans come to mind for me. They're a mess. They just got new management, Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver. I know Troy Weaver liked him when he was the Detroit GM. Maybe they're like, it's a chance for us to add some talent. Maybe it's a chance for us to add some talent. Him and Zion can run together. But then I'm like, what do they have that because they're not giving you Zion, and I don't even know if I want Zion, to be honest. I would
CJ? CJ?
I would I'm constructing every fake Trey Murphy for Kuminga and picks trade, but let's be real, they're not doing that. Please. Please,
120 million for Trey Murphy the next 4 years. Guy can't stay healthy. Oh, maybe they don't want. Maybe they want to start fresh. Guy can't stay. When was the last time you played?
I mean, 6'8" legit shooter who can defend. Like, you have to be out of your mind to trade that. But hey, what did the Luka trade teach us? You don't ask. You don't ask. You don't know.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Closed mouths don't get fed. Kuminga's a better ball handler than Trey Murphy. Get his own shot. Him and Zion's a nasty fit. So you probably have to throw in one of those picks, one of those big Steph picks.
I mean, for someone like Trey Murphy, it's worth it because I would put money on Trey Murphy making an all-star team on the Warriors. It's hard to imagine like a better fit next to Steph and Jimmy.
God,
he's not prime Clay, but like this is as close to a proximity or like a facsimile of him as you can get in terms of combo of shooting and defense.
Maybe they want to get off DeJounte Murray's contract. I don't know.
He tore his Achilles last. He's not playing next year. So,
boy.
Yeah. So we're not. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they would give you that.
Herb Jones and Olenek. Herb Jones and Olenek are the Pelicans got some. You know something that I don't know because the Pelicans got some good contracts here. I mean, Herb Jones is 14, and then Kelly Olynyk's at 13.5. I'm sure the Warriors will want that 13.5. It's expiring too. So this one's a good one, and obviously Trey Murphy. To your point, I see the 120 million. It's a lot of money though, Sam. 20 million.
It's not a lot of money for a guy like him, but
I know, but. Maybe
I would love it. I would take him over Cam Johnson without thinking.
Easily. Me too. Absolutely. Trey Murphy's the best name that I think you could throw out there that the Warriors can even imagine
of non like star caliber players. Yeah. No, it's a dream move. Year 5, going to be 25, so he's both young but not inexperienced. Palatable contract. Skill set fits what you want to a T, which is long, rangy defensively, and he can really shoot the ball, operates better off ball than on ball. So it's exactly the player you're looking for. There's just not a lot of those guys out there. So
no, I'm sure if he's even sniffing the market, I'm sure everyone's calling. And that's the other problem that the Warriors have if they're trying to engineer one of these trades for like an actual good player, which Trey Murphy is. Even Herb Jones, I think, is like an actual good player. Like other teams are going to call. You don't think OKC is going to call? San Antonio is going to call. Can you imagine Trey Murphy next to Wemby? Like that's the other problem that the Warriors have is like these other teams are going to come and ask for these players, and they've got sweet. They
just have more. They just have more stuff to give.
Yep.
Yeah, there's got more. So
yeah, we got Kuminga though. Warriors got Kuminga. That's the one, baby. Teams want Kuminga.
You got to find the team who thinks legitimately he can be a star. Because that's what it comes down to. It's like you need the team who's like, oh, it's cool the Spurs are giving us 3 picks, but they're probably all going to be in the 20s. I'd rather have Kuminga because I think he's a star. That's like that's the logic you're hoping. So it's really down to like who's the exec who is convinced that this is a star who just needs some time.
I mean, I think the Raptors, they wanted him for a while, but the Raptors clogged up their books. Like they just signed they signed Brandon Ingram and quickly. Like that was probably the team. And now they've
Brandon Ingram now? Are we back on Brandon Ingram?
No, I accidentally no, but this was the team. Like OG, Siakam, right? Maybe you get Pirtle. Maybe that's what you want. He has 1 year in a player option.
RJ Barrett?
No, please no. Please no. Like RJ Barrett, I think Kuminga ends up better than RJ Barrett probably. So it just I guess Pirtle. If you look at this,
what a sad roster.
Yeah, this is different.
Just different. They don't need Kuminga. They don't need Kuminga. Don't do it, dudes. You don't need another guy who can't shoot.
Barnes
Ingram, to go with your other wings who can't shoot like Barnes and RJ Barrett.
Oh, it's so nasty. This roster's so nasty. I mean, Pirtle would be a nice fit, but yeah, I just because you made me think like. If there's someone that you got to think of a GM that likes him, right? Like, they
a GM who likes him, who's probably not concerned about next year because they're getting him because they think let him get like the run next year. It's going to be a learning curve, go up and down, and then we'll see after that. I don't know. Sacramento is always realistic. It would be stupid for them to do it, so that means they will do it.
Malik Monk would be a great fit on the Warriors. Like, I know he might not close games. I know you're probably not going to like that. He might not close.
No. I mean, we talked about him. Tommy and I talked about him. Like he's he fills the void that they haven't had filled since Jordan Poole left. It would be nice to have a guy who can lead the second unit scoring wise and can, well, let's be real, lead the team offensively in games Steph sits, I need Steph sitting more in games next year. I need Steph on the 60 game plan next year, not the 70 game plan.
Yeah. I know second
team. And like Malik Monk would be awesome for that. Honestly, he would be. He's very good. He knows who he is too, which like I like players who are like self-actualized. Like, I'm a bucket getter. I can go get 30. I'm cool coming off the bench. I'm cool doing this. That's my job,
Well, he's just older Kobe White. Like, it's just like he's just that guy, and probably on a better contract because he's locked in. I mean, he's gonna decline. I don't know if he'll decline it, but 2 years, like 2 years. That's the Warriors window. You get him for 2 years. I mean, it's a great fit. Yeah,
glad
27,
28.
I mean, and then you can go.
DeRozan would make me cry.
No, stop. I'm gonna cut you off. They're not doing DeRozan. Come on.
Do you have a dark horse team?
I like the Raptors. I went with the Pistons. Like, the Pistons, I feel like, are a team that they've got some guys, they've got some shooting. They kind of need some juice. Like, they've got
they're looking for like that number guy. that guy to go with Cade.
That's exactly what I was saying. And like, you could argue maybe Jay and Ivey got hurt. Oscar Thompson's not that type of guy. Oscar Thompson's like similar to his brother, right? So maybe you can argue like Cade can get Cade and Kuminga. Like, Kuminga could be the Amari or whatever, like the pick and roll guy, play off of him. Who are you gonna get here though? Like, Sam, I don't know. Like, Beef Stew's $15 million, like, isn't that bad, but it's kind of nasty. Tobias Harris is kind of nasty, but Tobias Harris is like on the same timeline ish. He's kind of got that like.
Too old.
Been a losing player. Yeah, he's 32, but 26 million is doable. He's always been a losing. Like,
he can shoot it though. He can really shoot it.
I don't know if he can defend. Probably too old to be like.
Beef Stew would be funny. Beef Stew and Draymond together. They would do something. They would do.
I think this wouldn't be I don't know if I'd be too happy about this, but I mean, it's an option. They don't have much on their team. Like, look at it. Like, they don't have much. Like,
they're in a good spot. Like, they got the flexibility. Like, they're clearly waiting because they didn't draft their second star. Like, I don't think Oscar Thompson's not that guy. Ron Holland's probably not that guy. Jaden Ivey's not that guy. But they've created. It's kind of like Houston, where like they have the flexibility to get that guy to go with Cade in a trade. And then if they do, they might win the East next year.
Yeah.
So.
I guess you say that, and I'm like, well, maybe Kuminga's probably not the guy for them. But maybe
but they could argue it because he fits Cade's timeline much better. So,
Pistons.
All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Appreciate everyone.